talks about how animals are a lifetime commitment. But what does that really mean? I got Coco when I was 14 and starting my first year of high school. Now, as a second-year college student, my life looks extremely different, but he's still here and he has the same needs. In today's video, I'm going to break down the expenses of caring for all of my animals and discuss the ways that I'm able to make money as a full-time college student. I wish I had a video like this when I was younger because when I was buying my animals, I had no idea what I was going to do as soon as college started. It's definitely not always easy, but I thought I'd share some of the things I'm able to do. I also would like to add that even though I make YouTube videos, I am not a full-time YouTuber and I don't make very much money off of it, though I will be sharing exactly how much I do make from YouTube. Okay, so let's get started with the expenses. Expenses can be broken down into two main portions. You have reoccurring expenses and you have initial expenses. When it comes to animals, initial expenses, especially for exotics, are going to be quite high. I'm not going to cover that in this video because it's going to vary greatly depending on what animal you're getting and the area you live and just how much supplies cost. Just to give you a little bit background about me, I have 1 Chihuahua, 2 rabbits, 4 sugar gliders, and a gecko. I also do live at home with my parents in a state that's not too expensive. In terms of my animals, I spend around $1,800 on them per year. So let's do the individual breakdown. The rabbits are the most expensive pets. I have a bonded pair of dwarf rabbits who are each about 3 pounds. Sachin is about 4 years and he's a Netherland dwarf. And Butchin is about 2 and he's a Holland Lop. Both of my rabbits don't have any medical conditions or any dietary restrictions. Per month, I spend around $18 on orchard grass hay from my local farm store. That's also the same place I get their litter, which is a pine horse stall bedding, and that costs me around $7 a month. I also spend around $5 on veggies per week. This is quite a bit less than what most people spend, only because my entire family is vegetarian, so we have tons of leftover greens all the time to give to the rabbits. Because of this, I really only have to buy a few veggies, like some romaine lettuce or some red leaf and green leaf lettuce, some spring mix, and some bell peppers, kind of just to supplement what they're already getting from our leftovers. So on veggies, I spend around $20 a month, and I like to budget an extra $10 just for anything else they might need. This is if I see a really cute toy that I want to pick up at the store, if I want to get them some pellets or something like that. Obviously, I don't spend exactly $10 on them every single month. Sometimes I'll spend $0 and sometimes I'll spend $40, but it equates out to around $10 a month. So every month, I spend around $50 on my rabbits. The next pet are my 4 bonded sugar gliders. They also don't have any pre-existing medical conditions or anything like that. So about per month, I spend around $25 on food. This includes the cost of making their staple diet and the fruits and vegetables that they eat. This price will vary greatly depending on what specific diet that you're feeding, but I feed the BML diet, which most of the supplies you just buy from your local Walmart, so it's very affordable. And then I like to budget around an extra $20 for them per month. This is because sugar glider stuff just tends to be more expensive, so whether I want to buy them some pellets for a month or I want to buy them some new toys, I like to have that $20 cushion. The next pet is my 7-pound Chihuahua Coco. He's a rescue dog. He also doesn't have any pre-existing health conditions or any special diets or anything like that. For food, we spend around $30 for a high-quality, fresh food. He's not on a raw diet, though I would like to transition him, but even that would be relatively affordable because he's only 7 pounds. And for Coco, I budget about an extra $10 per month in case he needs some new toys or some treats or anything like that. And the last pet we have is my Leachianus gecko. I spend around $10 a month for him on food, so that's his Pangea diets and any insects if I decide to feed him those that month. And I budgeted an extra $5 for him, like if I want to buy him a feeding wedge or a vine or a new plant or anything like that. So a running total for all of my animals, my rabbits cost me $50 a month. My sugar gliders cost me $45 a month. Coco cost me $40 a month. And my gecko cost me $15 a month. Adding all that together, I spend $150 on my animals every single month, and over the course of a year, that equates to $1,800. I would like to emphasize that this is the very bare minimum. This is not including anything like if something breaks and I have to replace it, if anyone needs a vet visit, anything like that. I would also recommend having $500 per animal that you own saved up in vet savings. So for me, because I have 8 animals, I would want to have saved up $4,000 in vet savings. I think this is just a really good cushion number to have because especially when you have groups of social animals like 4 sugar gliders, if one of them gets sick, it's likely that all of them are going to get sick. If that number is just really unrealistic, get a bare minimum of 1,000 and just keep saving. Another thing I'd like to add is all of my animals are relatively young and healthy. This could change at any point, and if at any time someone does develop a health condition or they just need to see the vets more often, that's going to drastically increase the price. Now let's talk about some typical bills that a 19-year-old might have. The first one is rent. This tends to be one of the most expensive ones. Rent can range anywhere from $300 to $1,000. The lower end is going to be renting a room or maybe an apartment that's a little bit more out of the way. And if you're spending $1,000, that's going to be probably something a little bit nicer or something with a better location. I personally don't pay any rent because I choose to live with my family and they don't charge me. Something else that's very expensive that you'll be paying for is your college. Your college can be anywhere from $10,000 if you're going in state and you have some scholarships, or $40,000 if you're going out of state and you weren't able to score any. For me personally, I was able to get a full ride scholarship to my local university, which helped a ton, so I don't pay any money for my college. Another payment is car payment. A lot of younger people don't have cars, but I think if you can afford to have it, especially when you have animals, it's so helpful for emergency late night, for emergency vet trips, or just if you want to go to a specialty store or anything like that. I think having a car makes things a lot easier, but it's definitely not a necessity. I personally don't pay for my car or my car payment. My parents got it to me as a gift. My parents' rule is they'll either pay for your college or they'll pay for your car, and they didn't have to pay for my college, so I got a car. Your car payment is going to vary greatly. You can buy a new car and you can do payments on it per month and pay it off, or you can get an older car for just a couple $1,000s, pay it upfront in cash, and then you won't have to make any payments. Having a car, you'll also have to pay for insurance, gas, any service or maintenance that it needs, registration. There's a lot of little fees that rack up when you have a car, so make sure you're looking into that if a car is something that you would like. So now some more details about me and how I do it. I chose to attend a local university that's about a 20-minute drive from my house. Now this isn't possible for everyone, but this helped a ton in where I would house my animals. Some people are able to have their animals in college as emotional support animals, or if your college just has a pretty lenient policy. I think this can work, but it can be quite difficult. In most dorms, you don't even have a fridge, so storing food might be an issue. Also, this is a harsh truth of college. You don't have a ton of privacy, and there's a lot of really terrible people. I know some dorms are worse than others, but if a party ever gets out of hand, you don't really want to imagine what a lot of drunk or high teenagers are going to do to your animals. So just make sure you're being realistic about what it would take to have your animal at college, not only for you to care for them, but to keep them safe. I also have a full ride scholarship to my college, so that pays for all of my tuition. It also gives me a stipend for my books, so I don't have to pay for any textbooks. It also covers a meal plan, which is really great, so I can have snacks on college without having to pay for it. And it also covers housing, but I mainly stay at home. I only stay on campus for days where I have a really long day or maybe a really early exam the next day. I also live with my family and they don't charge me for rent, which is super helpful. I just do the best I can to help out around the house and with any chores, and if there's some things I can pay for, I always like to offer. I also do have a car, but again, it was a gift and I really don't pay anything for it, which I'm so grateful for. Even though I don't have a lot of the bigger expenses, like paying for my college tuition, like paying for a car or paying rent, I still have all the animals, and believe it or not, I actually do spend some money on myself. I always end up buying way too much makeup, way too much clothes, hair products, room decor, just little knickknacks like that. So all of those things do add up, which is why you'll likely have to work if you want to be independent in college. Also, I would just like to throw out there that I feel like there's a lot of shame and pretentiousness when it comes to finances in general, but especially when you're a young adult. I think whatever your parents are willing to help out with or not help out with is completely up to you and them. Some parents I know like to pay for their kids' college tuition, especially if their kids are getting good grades. Other parents, that's just not an option at all. Some parents are happy to gift their kids cars, other parents aren't. So just do what works for you and your family. I'm just trying to share what my situation is. Okay, so some of the ways I make money. The most stable way to have money when you're in college is to work a part-time job. Now, I'll be honest that this can be extremely difficult. College in general, a full semester is going to be equivalent to like a 40-hour work week, probably more depending on your major. I'm a math and computer science double major, and I hardly have time to get through my classes. I definitely am not able to commit to having a super official part-time job. So I try to do some different things around campus. Campus jobs are great because you're able to work on campus, so you don't have to commute to a different location. They also tend to be a lot more flexible with your schedules and a lot more understanding, especially during times like finals weeks. But campus jobs do tend to be slightly lower paying and your hours aren't very stable, especially like right now during the coronavirus. So the jobs I work on campus, I work as a college life mentor. This is pretty much a job where I check up on incoming freshman students just to see how they're handling their transition into college. This job is so fun because I literally just get paid to text people. I've really enjoyed it. It hasn't been too many hours, and I make $1,200 from that per year, which is the 2 semesters. I also work as an ambassador for my college. This is an hourly paying job, and to be honest, I haven't been scheduled much recently because of COVID. I also do have an extra scholarship that I was able to pile on top of my current scholarship. So even though I do have a full ride, I was able to layer this one on top, which gives me an extra $2,500 per year. I also do research. I also work as a research assistant. And again, I think this is a great job if you want to get some good experience and have something that looks great on your resume, but also make a little bit of extra cash. And this is my first semester getting paid for it, and that'll be $1,250 a year. Lastly, summers are a great time to get some extra money saved up. Depending on your field of study, you can often get into some really high-paying internships. I did an internship that paid $15 an hour, but for a lot of other computer science internships, they even go as high as $33 an hour, so I definitely look into that if you're interested. Also, there's different research summer programs that also pay really well, so there's always options to make a bunch of extra money during the summer, and you always have the option to work like a more traditional job over the summer as well. You might have noticed that I haven't mentioned YouTube on here, and that's because I just started making money on YouTube like 3 months ago. I make about $70 a month, and YouTube likes to have at least $100 before they send you your paycheck. So I get paid right now every other month. It's around $140 every other month, like the 2 times I've gotten paid. So it's definitely great to have that extra money, and I'm able to put it towards my animals, but it's definitely not like a way to make a ton of money. So I hope that was interesting and kind of provided some transparency on a subject that I feel like most people aren't willing to talk about. I know finances are kind of icky, and I know they're very personal, but I think it's really important that as pet keepers, we're very open about it, because especially when people are younger and getting into owning animals, I think it's important that we give a realistic overview of what it's going to be like to truly care for an animal for its entire life. I hope you guys found this interesting, and let me know if this is what you guys expected. I know when I was younger, I always imagined living in an off-campus apartment with my animals because living with your parents just seems so cliche, but doing the math and the amount of hours that I'm already putting, I think it's just not probable for me to have a job high-paying enough to afford an off-campus apartment and still have time to dedicate to my classes. So this is a situation right now. Let me know what your animal finances are like down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!